What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Bland back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody doing this weekend? And just ahead of time, you guys can probably already hear it in my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I do apologize, but I do appreciate you guys always hanging out with us, spending time here. You guys see us right now. It's kind of a two-man situation. Fuzz should be falling in here at some point. So shout out to everybody in here watching us live. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. We have a lot to talk about. So much to cover. This week has been super busy. So many big announcements, way too many. And once again, just you guys know, if you don't already know, we are letting you guys control, the rest of the show once we get through these topics. So don't forget about that. Go ahead and make sure you throw those topics in the chat so that way we already had them things loaded, locked, and ready. So shout out to Zinc, shout out to Shonsu, Toolman, only on Xbox. Everybody hanging out with us in the chat. Hit the like button once again. Subscribe if you have not already, man. But I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to my co-host. Coming in hot here. We all had a little bit, all had some things going on today. So I appreciate you, Pong. Always consistent, always bringing that energy. Once again, you might have to carry me a little bit more than usual today. But I appreciate you, bro. How's your week been?
That's all right. I'm used to carrying steel every Saturday. Just for him.
Man, I don't know if he agrees with that.
No, I can't say that about my hype man at all. Hey, look, it's been one of those weeks, like you just got done saying, PTK, just in general, and then you throw on the sparks of a forest fire with the gaming news. It just ramped up as the week progressed, and it got crazy Thursday and Friday. With some of the good news and some of the just fantastic stuff happening in this industry right now. So it was a fun week for sure. Look, gaming wise, I have been all over the place, as everybody always knows, right? So some weeks I do come in. So. Yeah. But there's some weeks I do come in here and I've had like a game like Cyberpunk that I'm finishing off or whatever the case. Well, now I'm back to all over the place. So man, I am back to the old school stuff. I picked up Kingdom Under Fire Circle of Doom for the Xbox 360.
Nice.
Been playing that. Been trying out, actually hop back into Weird West again, which is absolutely phenomenal. I had already played it for like the first hour or so, but I really hopped back into it one night this week and played for a few hours. Man, that game is special. I can't wait to keep rocking out on that one. Otherwise, I downloaded the Game of the Year. How can you not? It's popping in the Game Pass. Bug Snacks is here.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm surprised I'm not seeing videos on Twitter. I'm surprised.
Elden Ring who?
Right. I'm surprised it's not the same type of phenomenon right now that this Bug Snacks. Look, I said it this morning on all seriousness. I said it this morning on Living Split Screen. Anybody who was out there trying to champion this as some kind of win for PlayStation 5, you better be going back. I'm not one of those guys, but for those people that are, you better go back through your timeline and erase any mention of this game in PS5. Okay, this is not a next gen game. This is not anything close to be something to be proud of on your PS5 or Xbox Series console from a show off standpoint. Right? Here's what I will say, PTK. This might surprise you. I popped into it for probably an hour or so. It's got a lot of Viva Pinata to it.
Ooh. Is that blasphemy? I don't know about that.
No,
it's not blasphemy?
The charm. I'm not saying it's the next. I'm not saying it's the next Viva Pinata, but I'm saying it's got the charm of a Viva Pinata to it. So like I said this morning, if you are somebody who enjoys family games, which I enjoy some family games. Some people would say, hey, they're kid games, but I don't care. I play them. I enjoy some of those games. If you're one of those people, or if you do have kids in the house, play Bug Snacks. If you've got Game Pass, it's worth the download if you're going to have an experience like that with your kids, because it's very simple. So far what I've seen, the controls are it's made for that purpose, right? It's a kids game, family game. So everything is upfront, very simple, very easy, but it's colorful. The characters are well written and voice acted. It's not ridiculous or anything. It's cute. It's fun. So do download Bug Snacks, all jokes aside, right? So I tried that out. What else I've been hopping into, man? Always on NBA 2K22. But yeah, it's been a great week. I keep having a lot of experiences that are just making me smile right now. And that's the best part about this industry. And I don't have any lull. Like, people go through lulls, in gaming. and you kind of get that feeling like, man, I don't know what I want to play. I haven't had those in a while, and we got more coming up next week on Game Pass. A lot of indie games dropping. Man, it's a great time. It's a great time to be a gamer. I just love this, PTK. But we got a lot to talk about, bro, because news is crazy.
Oh, yeah, this has been one of the busiest weeks that I can remember in recent memory, as far as like, and it's early too, right? Like, this is fairly early to be getting these type of announcements, so I'm super excited. So I see you slid in here, Fuzz. What's up, brother? How you doing, my guy?
Man, oh man, computer problems, but
yeah. Computer problems named Porsche. Yeah, I know exactly what you were doing.
No,
caught you in 4K, Fuzz.
No, but well, I'm definitely playing a lot of Porsche racing on my console and stuff. But man, oh man, it went from crickets to news central or the news flood in like no time at all.
Yeah, like 48 hours, dude. It was crazy.
But man, oh man, there's just so much. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not even going to bother downloading bug snacks. I wound up catching, what was it? Slow Mo did like a stream where everybody had convinced him to play that, or it was kind of like a punishment stream. He lost a bet against Forte or something like that, and I think I had all the bug snacks I want to see from that. But man, oh man, it is going to be a huge month for Game Pass here, for May and, going forward from that. But man, oh man, Trek to Yomi, looking forward to that one. What was it? Sniper Elite, not too far down the road as well. But it's the golden age of gaming. Yeah, I know I'm using Pong's words here.
$50 every time, Fuzz.
Come on now. I mean, copyright. You know what we got to do around here.
No, but it couldn't be more true than that. I don't know, but enough of me rambling. Let's get into these topics.
Man, let's get into it.
Fuzzy, can I just say though, your GT7 clips are absolutely gorgeous, man. Yeah. And I retweeted that last one you did of Porsche, of one of your Porsche races. I really hope that when Motorsport drops, that's the type of, that's the type of camera angles that we get and what it looks like. So when we're sharing out clips of Motorsport, it looks like that because, man, it is unbelievably impressive. It still catches me off guard. When you post something and I stop and watch it, I'm like, God, just gorgeous, man. Just absolutely gorgeous. So just had to say that.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. But, Motorsport's not too far down the road because I know they're closing up Forza Hub. So they're going to conceal whatever testing they're doing because they don't want people's driver level to all of a sudden jump one or two levels and be like, wait, what game were you playing to do that? Motorsport, the next Motorsport. But I'm so looking forward to that thing. And I know that there was like this recent leak of pictures where people were like, oh, it's going to be on Xbox One. It's like, that's why it's a test. They always do test runs. And considering when they did that test run, no one really had a series console. So, yeah, of course it was on Xbox One for that test run. But, tests are tests just for that very reason. But, man, that's one of the games that's high up on the list that I hope we hear about after, June 12th or here on June 12th when they do their complete showcase and stuff.
All right, man. Well, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a busy week. Once again, guys, you guys know it's heating up. Well, shout out to John Wolf, $5 super dono. Appreciate you, bro. He said, good evening, Pod Shop crew. Where's that Starfield gameplay? LOL. Just kidding. Have a great show, guys. God bless. Shout out to you, John Wolf. And I mean, Pong, he doesn't take those type of shots lightly.
It's going to be delayed. Okay. Period.
Oh, my goodness.
Those people, it's going to be 2023. There's no way it's coming out. Whatever.
Been exiled from the church of Todd Howard. You've been exiled.
No. You know what's funny? I got it last night from Lupa. She writes down, I swear to God, she writes down stuff all week long just to try to get me stirred up when we get on Xbox Ultimate. And she started it last night. So I'm kind of over it because she went in the whole, I hate Todd Howard. There's nothing, Bethesda's games don't interest me. She started with me on that last night. So I'm okay with it. That's cool, John. We're going to get plenty of footage coming up June 12th. Let me tell you something.
And don't get it twisted. Pong is keeping all the receipts.
Oh yeah.
So just in case you guys are not aware, he's keeping all the receipts. So I just want to let everybody, so because I mean,
the public shaming of the group of people out there come June 12th is going to be after June 12th is going to be utterly ridiculous. Just wait.
Oh man, I'm telling you right now, man. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. Shout out to everybody in chat. You guys are fucking amazing every week coming to hang out. Once again, I know I'm a bit nasally. I do apologize. I'm a little bit under the weather. So we're gonna power through this. We're gonna have fun like we always do. So if you guys, don't mind, hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. Shout out to everybody coming in chat. Hit the like button, retweet, all that good stuff. So let's dive in. Shout out to the over 500 people who voted on this week's poll of the week. I love it. I love it when I see people enjoying the poll of the week. If you're not aware of it, follow me on Twitter every single Monday. At some point in time, Monday, I put it up and, we talk about it here on the Shop Podcast. 99% of the time, it is the first topic on the Shop Podcast. This one was kind of fun. I always try and make them fun unless Pong shoots them down immediately. Then I kind of lose they kind of lose their luster after that. But
wait, again, I'm just trying to make you better. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help
iron sharpens iron.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Yes, I get what you're saying. I mean, it's tough love, guys. Don't it's tough love. No,
family does.
Yeah, we love Pong, man. We love appreciate you, brother. So this is kind of fun. Once again, chat. If you guys aren't aware, poll of the week every single Monday. So which hypothetical game would get more attention if they were announced on the same day? On the same day, we had GTA 6 and Elden Ring 2. So GTA 6 won 75% of the vote. Elden Ring 2, 25%. Let me know what you guys would have picked, why you would have picked that choice. We're actually going to start with you on this one, Fuzz, because I'm super interested on what, kind of where your angle and when you saw it, like, what was your thought process?
I know as much as Elden Ring was talked about, and then Elden Ring 2 would definitely, turn a lot of heads, and it's, it's probably going to be a lot bigger than most other games. I think GTA 6 is that game that pretty much shuts down the internet or something along those lines. Like, even when people aren't even saying something credible as far as news about GTA 6, like, I hope they have like a New York map, and it's like, GTA 6 is trending for like almost a week or so over somebody, in the industry saying, something about a map or their hopes of it. So I that was the main reason why I went with GTA 6, just because it's, I think the hype has already built up to the point where it's going to be hard for Rockstar to meet the bar. I think for even their own bar for this game. But
so the interesting thing about that though is that, but even Rockstar they haven't been as consistent, and with their consistent milking of GTA 5, they're not as bulletproof as they once were. I would say, right? They don't have as much favor generally from gamers because of kind of how they handle GTA. But I 100% agree that they could just put out a tweet and say GTA 6, that's it, and everything stops, like you said. Like all of that other shit people talk about goes away immediately.
Yeah.
So exactly. I do agree with that take as well. Once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about this. But go ahead, Paul. Fuzz, I didn't mean to hijack this.
No, that's pretty much it. Like, for the most part, GTA 6, it's I'm not predicting Cyberpunk, disappointment at launch type of thing, because it's. I think they're going to do next gen only at this point. I think they're going to learn from others that, hey, it's not worth trying to do it on the older consoles. They kind of, been on enough older consoles with 5, but I think 6 is going to be something that's going to be hard for them to even live up to. Yeah. My prediction is they do like a whole GTA Online 2 more so than a GTA 6. But I think that's the one that breaks the internet for the day.
Yeah. I mean, they could expand, like you said, on the online, that because that's really what people play. I mean, people do play the story still, but like there's nothing going on story wise for GTA 5 at all. So everything going on, updates for the past 7-8 years has been all the online part of GTA. So once again, chat, let us know how you guys feel about this. Great breakdown, Fuzz, as usual. I do agree with you. I do think that, I mean, as much steam as Elden Ring 2 would generate, I think it will be a big deal, but I think it's something about Grand Theft Auto, man. And once again, it may be helped because of the time between the last one, right? Like, that helps it. I mean, I don't know if you would agree with that.
No, I think that's a big thing. Like an Elden Ring 2 at this point might be a little too soon to garner as much attention. Like if there's like 5 or 6 years at least, I think that game. I mean, the only games that are probably going to outdo the buzz on it are going to be something like your Starfield or something like Mass Effect or something like that when they do they do a new one or something along those lines. I think a God of War is going to be able to outdo Elden Ring buzz, but outside of that, not many other games are going to really be able to touch it, I think.
Yeah. No, and once again, I agree with that. Shout out to Steel Rain falling in the chat. Pong, he's following you around again, Pong.
I know. I got this problem. It's an itch that I can't get rid of, and his name is Steel.
Oh my goodness! Shout out to brother. We love you still. Shout out to you, man. But it's real. So great segue anyway, right? So it's on you anyway, Pong. Just where you at on this? Any type of angle that you came from? Is it just pretty? It was a fairly simple for you.
Yeah, Starfield 2.
Oh my goodness!
Crushes both of them. So I know. I pointed that out to you very early after you posted it.
You did. That was the first thing that that was the first.
No, look. Elden Ring 2, for as big a phenomenon as it is, Elden Ring 2 would obviously be, or Elden Ring for as big a phenomenon as it is, Elden Ring 2 would obviously be a huge, huge trender, right? That would be gigantic. But the point of fact is, I think the last bit that you brought up there with Fuzzy PTK is the real deal behind it. Not only is GTA just more of an established franchise and one of the pillars in the gaming industry, one of those franchises that just, again, it cemented its place long ago.
Oh, long time ago.
Yeah, right. So in the Gaming Hall of Fame, whereas Elden Ring is just a phenomenon, right? We got to see more. It's fantastic. Obviously, I loved it, but GTA is special. And because of the time frame that it has been, because of the frustration with not hearing anything about GTA 6. If both were announced on the same day, GTA would absolutely destroy Elden Ring. Okay, 2. We still have people playing Elden Ring, putting in hundreds of hours into Elden Ring. It's still fresh. It's still there. People going back to it again. People playing, a game or playing another game again, going back and replaying. Look, GTA 6 would absolutely just, again, as you guys said, a teaser alone would do it. Look what just happened with Modern Warfare 2. We might talk about this. Modern Warfare 2, all they do is drop a logo on Twitter from Infinity Ward, and it becomes the most liked Call of Duty tweet in history.
Ever.
Yes.
Crazy,
again,
right?
That's not, Twitter hasn't been around that long, hasn't been as big as it always is. But still, to say that after again, this is going to be Modern Warfare 2 will be number 35, the 35th Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That is mind-boggling. Yeah. And yet all they have to do is show a logo of one of the favorite subset
a
of
JPEG.
A JPEG. Right. And that's how much it drives. GTA would take that even to another level or 5 levels, right? Yeah. That's how big Grand Theft Auto is. So yeah, by the everybody who voted got it right. It's Grand Theft Auto by a mile. But of course, the people who don't play Grand Theft Auto probably are out there. Well, I wouldn't care. You're right. You wouldn't care. I'm not even big on Grand Theft Auto anymore. It's not a big deal to me anymore, but it still would drive just some serious hype. All the Elden Ring fans would be out there screaming, but that would be they would be whispers compared to the GTA people. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
So, and I agree. I think the chat, but I think everybody that voted absolutely got it right. If you voted in chat as well, I do think you got it right as well. I mean, it's such a, now, like you said, Elden Ring is a phenomenon. I think we all agreed. We all called it that after about a week. We all realized what was happening, but there's something, like you said, GTA is an established pillar. It's already cemented its place in the Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yep.
There's Mount no Rushmore. Waiting period. Yeah, Mount Rushmore type stuff. Yep. So you don't sell 130, 140 million copies of a game at this point, right? Something crazy. That's Minecraft. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If we're being honest. So
for an M-rated game.
For an M-rated game.
That's crazy.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So but no, I agree with you guys 110%. I do think GTA 6 would eclipse if they just drop, if it was some random occurrence like the goddamn Saturn lined up with Jupiter and this stuff happened, and I do think it would eclipse Elden Ring 2. It would be interesting though, Pong. Like it'd be really interesting to see. Like I just think that like the overall appeal of GTA and just the fact that it's such a huge game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would dwarf like Elden Ring. I do think Elden Ring would still get it. It would probably be trending kind of both all day kind of thing, right? Like
yeah, trending, but I still think overall, if they measured the activity out there, I think Grand Theft Auto would dwarf it still. I really do. Like I said, Elden Ring's just if it's 5 years from now and everybody on the Elden Ring side has been clamoring for 2 and we still haven't gotten it or any announcement, maybe that creeps up a little bit. But as of this moment, let's say it happened, within the next year, Elden Ring's still too fresh. I still think Grand Theft Auto would dwarf it by a lot. I just think overall. So we're gonna find out, and I think we're gonna find out sooner than later too. Take-Two's announcement this week, they got 40 different titles in the next 2 years. I think Grand Theft Auto 6 is a lot further along than we all think. I really do. I'm starting to believe that now.
Fuzz and his damn tea leaves. Fuzz been saying that for a while. I think Fuzz, you've been on that boat for a while too.
Yeah, it's just I'm not as excited as I probably should be as someone that plays a lot of Grand Theft Auto. It just I feel that it's further along because it's going to be either less substantial or less content than what 5 released as originally back when it came out on the PS3 and 360 type of thing. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping for the best, but man, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have some reservations, and some of the stuff that's happened behind the scenes that you've brought up for I probably over a year and a half now. These things you've been pointing out about the original creators leaving and everybody kind of going their own ways is something you've already highlighted. So once again, Chad, if you didn't vote, obviously you can't vote now, but next week you can with the poll of the week. So be aware of that. Follow me on Twitter if you want to be part of the poll of the week every single Monday at some point. So just look for it there. We're moving on to the next topic, man. We got so much to talk about. I actually shot out the topics while all of this stuff was coming out. And so I hope you guys, Chat, save us here and throw some of the stuff that, we definitely need to fit in here later on in the show. But we're going to be talking about some big news coming out of Xbox. I mean, there was a lot of news coming out of Xbox this week, to be honest, but the Xbox had its biggest March ever in Xbox history. Beats out, any March during the 360 generation, probably the most popular generation for Xbox up until this point, as far as most successful generation, as far as consoles sold. So, this is a great start, and this is exactly what we thought would happen. A lot of us said we thought this happened with the 2 different SKUs and their ability to, put out these consoles and, in a productive way. So we'll start with you on this one, Pong, just about that news. Like, this validates kind of where everything is going. It validates Game Pass and investing in that. It validates investing in the studios and Activision and, Bethesda. So kind of where are you at with that news?
Wait, say that again?
Oh.
Damn, I hit the button. Wow. Oh. Okay. 4.5 hours this morning. I guess I'm a little off. It makes 100% complete sense, right? Because, like you said, PTK, whenever we talked about this, we saw this coming. Now, we're going to sit back and say, well, we predicted that March would be the biggest month. No, of course not. No, we didn't get that specific here, but we're just talking about the momentum. Again, the momentum is shifted in a lot of ways to Xbox's favor. And people here in this community are a very small bubble minority of people. And unfortunately, a lot of us are, in Twitter daily. So we think that sometimes is reflective of the real world. It's not. Real world is right now that Xbox has made enough waves in the water that ripple effect is now hitting outwards, and it's really starting to expand. And that's exactly what you're seeing with these numbers. Game Pass is an undeniable value that people outside of just the gaming community, that when they hear about it or they have a friend tell them, or a kid explains what it is to their parents, it makes sense. It's easy to understand. Sometimes it may take a couple times. Like, what do you mean you get over 100 games for $10 a month or $15 a month? But once it clicks, it's a simple, easy buy for most people if they're going to jump into an ecosystem, because it gives them a lower barrier to entry. The people out there who are budget sensitive, which a lot of people are now. And now as inflation is growing and food price, I just got back from the grocery store. My God, I'm done. I can't believe how bad it's gotten. As that increases, more and more people are watching what they're spending. Now, the interesting part, PTK, about this. So take that all aside, right? We knew the shortages are going on for both sides. We heard that maybe Microsoft paid for chip priority. There's people out there denying that, saying that that's BS, whatever the case may be. We understand that Sony, because of their overclocked chips, they need better silicon. They get less out of each run than an Xbox does. Xbox also has the advantage with the S, which we know they can make 2 of to every series console. There's so many things going on here at play as far as the chess match goes, that what you're seeing at the end of the day is Xbox has the advantage for multiple different reasons, and they're expanding upon it. But the really, really interesting part about all this, right, is that they don't have they've had Halo and Forza, but outside of that, right, and a few off ones here, Flight Sim and all that kind of stuff, they're doing this without any big push from first party games. So that narrative that you have to have exclusives, that you must absolutely dominate in exclusives, is starting to disappear under the weight of Game Pass, because now more people, because of Game Pass, are becoming like me. They're becoming grazers, okay? More people are stepping outside of their comfort zone with Game Pass and trying new, different titles. And I think that's kind of what's happening here, that it's not so much. Yes, you will always have those people that absolutely love certain exclusives and will buy a console every generation from that manufacturer because they want those exclusives. You will have those people. For the greater public, when they look at Game Pass and they see something like NBA 2K22 dropping in, like we just had happen, next generation version, actually both versions, by the way, you will see that happen. And the average person who is thinking about jumping into a new ecosystem says, wait, I can play NBA 2K22 today, part of my monthly subscription. I don't have to pay full price or even sale price, as some people pointed out. Yeah, sure, you can get it cheaper. Oh, wow. That's right. Plus I get all these other games. Oh man, This is a no-brainer, right? Yeah. That's what you're seeing happening right now. And this is going to continue. This is not going to be something, again, at the end of the day, do all the sales matter? No. And from a business side, playing armchair CEO, is it fun? Of course it's fun to watch these numbers. But to see Xbox pull this off, beat 360 numbers, have the biggest record month ever for March, which is a slow time in the video game industry, that's gigantic. And think about this too. There's another point out there about this. They're doing this now after, well, I shouldn't say after because we're not done with it yet, but let's just say we're getting closer back to normal. We're coming out of the pandemic. This was the time that people, analysts, were watching carefully. This next year here this is when the analysts said that we were going to start watching to see if the gains the industry saw during the pandemic, which were massive, never heard of before. Right? Massive, they were massive. Nobody ever saw that coming, right? They were going to watch those gains and see if they would hold, because there was a feeling that they might come back closer to pre-pandemic levels as people went back out into the world, got out there, touched grass, went out with their friends, whatever the case may be, had more things to do. Guess what's happening? More people are sticking with gaming. More people are actually now having gaming as a part of their routine, and that's showing up in the spending. So as much as people are talking about inflation and all the food prices going up, gas prices going up, all that stuff, people are still budgeting in gaming at this point as one form of entertainment they're not going to get rid of, a hobby that they're willing to invest in even during tougher times and stick with it. That is a key factor. Now, if that keeps up through next year, let's say hopefully everything stays its course right now as we're going, more and more we get normal. If that stays the same into next year, that is going to be absolutely monstrous for this entire industry, because that means they picked up millions and millions of new gamers, which is exactly what Phil and Satya were planning on when they said 2 billion to 3 billion, picking up new people out of the ecosystem, picking up some of those mobile gamers. Well, now you picked up people who may not have even been gaming a couple years ago. That's huge for the industry. Really exciting times, man.
And I want to highlight something too. they're selling into, and that once again, I know people will be like, well, now all of a sudden do sales matter? No, we're just talking about what's happening. Yeah. We're not necessarily highlighting it. So we're talking about just the direction that, we've been talking about Xbox going. So shout out to Chris Jones following here. What's up, bro? Appreciate you hanging out with us. Hit the like button, bro. But one thing I want to highlight as well, they're selling now in territories that they were not selling in last year as well. Correct. Europe, Asia, those places that they outsold Sony. When once again, we figure out exactly why that is the case, but they outsold Sony 2-1 in Europe.
That's the mind share, brother.
Crazy.
That's what happens. Those ripples are spreading, man. Again, Twitter's not real life. So again, more regular people are starting to turn to Xbox and say, I can't pass this up. This is just too good, especially with that Series S, man. That Trojan horse, man. Yeah. When that thing drops a 250 holiday, watch out. Watch out.
And once again, and this is all once if once Sony gets its supply situation together, we're gonna see this happen with Sony too. Things will get about where they need to be as far as even Sony's sales will pick up. Like obviously. Once they get that supply. So
Sony's not dead.
Sony's
not dead.
Let's not go there. Shout out to chat. Yeah, we don't want to put that energy out there because that's not what we're saying. But either way, at the end of the day, this is where things are going. And once again, this is kind of how the dominoes have been set up. We've been talking about this for about 2 to 3 years now here on the Shop Podcast. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Let's get your opinion on where maybe not the sell so much, just the energy, because we've been that's what we've been talking about, really, the positive energy and that shit carrying over from everything that they're doing.
Oh yeah, it's I don't know. I look at it this way: the fact that Xbox is selling in it's making people upset or making people mad is comical to me. It's like they've been asking Xbox to step up and compete, and that's what they're doing now. And they're having their best month ever as far as in comparison to even their 360 era range. So it's good to see in the sense that there's a healthy market out there. And sure, they're gaining market share. So it's not as much of a stomp as it once was with previous generation, which is always a good thing, because now if they're gaining market share, then that means Sony has to do things to ensure that their player base stays either the same or grows as well. So we benefit at the end. But I don't know. I kind of looked at it before where I just had this inkling that this would be almost like a PS3, like era in the sense that it always seems like the market leader gets full of themselves, and then the next generation, they kind of, lick their wounds kind of thing. And, they had a nice jump, because I kind of thought in the beginning of this generation that it was going to be a blowout, more so that, a $300 console was going to, outsell even the PlayStation 5 despite demand, just for the price point itself. But hearing that they had like a 6-month lead, or PlayStation did have like a 6-month lead as far as production is concerned, now it's like, okay, that makes sense. They got a lot of their consoles out. I guess they didn't take into account for scalpers. Scalpers are probably, other than the supply shortages, scalpers are probably PlayStation's biggest Achilles heel right now, just for the fact that, you still have, I think it's almost 2 million, consoles that still haven't been turned on or activated or anything like that. So there's a good bit of, issue with that. But them doing that whole custom, what do you call it? Not accelerated, but like
custom chip overclocked.
The overclocking. Yeah. That's. I know there were stories like, oh, the failure rate is like, every other one, and they, had rebuttal stories and things like that. But it's like, okay, if it wasn't true, then why are you running into a bigger issue on, chips and overall availability? And some people are like, oh, well, Microsoft paid for availability. Well, they could do that, but it's not really
that
a thing,
all
because
the time, by the way, people, just to let you know. That's not a foreign business practice.
It's called business.
Yeah, it is called business, but it's not something that I think if that were really the case in this situation, I honestly think that Sony would make a bigger stink about it. They would also find a way to make sure that at least they were on similar levels as far as production. So I think it was more so of their chip choice kind of like when they went with the whole cell processor, it was harder for developers. It was, harder to make at the time just because it was a little bit different setup than what was, currently on shelves type of thing. And I think they kind of went in that, not bad direction, but in that same kind of direction as far as their choices with this overclocked chip. But all of that aside, the PS5 is still going to sell. It's still going to sell like gangbusters. I just hope for the most part that they continue to, focus on having consoles available, focus on having their exclusives available, and keep on working on market deals. And that's going to continue making Xbox do the same. But it's great to see sales numbers. It never really matters to me in the sense that it doesn't make the game I'm currently playing any better. I mean, sure, it could help with, games down the road because that company will have more money to reinvest and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change how the games that I'm playing on that system play for the most part. So I'm just happy that there are more people into gaming now. And it seems like it's not just a growing industry in the sense of more people are trying to dip their toe in it type of thing, but there's more people out there actively playing and actively looking for consoles or looking for different platforms to play on, where you got the Steam Deck now in the wild, you got Switch is still selling like crazy, even though it's a bit behind on the tech side of things. And you got these next gen consoles that just they seem to be flying off the shelves just as soon as they go, either list online or in the stores themselves. So it's great to see. Hope it continues. Last thing any of us want is like an 80s crash, kind of like that ET era type of thing. But just I'm glad to see Xbox is doing well this time, so it's not as much of a one-sided event.
Oh, absolutely, dude. And once again, and this is something we preach in the show. I mean, it's good for the industry overall. We win as consumers. I think we're all aware of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good for all of us at the end of the day. So shout out to everybody in chat right now, man. Once again, great topics as usual. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna have you guys running this show pretty soon once we get done with this next topic. So, if you got them questions, you can go ahead and throw them in chat. We'll save them, make sure we get to them, in order. So shout out to everybody watching live right now. Appreciate you guys, man. Always hanging out with us, showing us love here every Saturday at the Shop Podcast. So we're moving on, man. And this is a big one because this came out of nowhere. So if you were under a rock, I just want to inform you, Xbox announced, made an official announcement, regarding Xbox and Bethesda Summer Showcase. So they gave us a date, they gave us a time. The date and time are pretty much, I believe, right? That's the same day they would normally do E3.
Correct.
If I'm correct. And the time, I believe. Somewhere in that ballpark. So it's they stuck to the traditional E3 time and day. So the thing that got me, if I can just get it out the way here, this is about a month earlier than we got the announcement last year. Yeah. So that's something that I want to highlight, and I'll start with you on this one, Pong, but that jumped out the page to me right away. Like they must be either extremely confident what they have, or they were just ready. Like, they're ready, and they're like, yeah, we're going to have all of this shit lined up. Everything is either early or like everything's lining up perfectly. So that's kind of what I got from that announcement. And I actually had you go check to see if we've ever gotten an announcement this early. And this is way before, that I even think it's before normally when E3 would even be announced. Normally we'd get one of, so it's super early. But I'm going to throw this over to you, Pong, and chat. Let us know. Let us know how you guys feel about this and, what you guys want to see. But I want to throw that at you, Pong, first. Like, I mean, the significance in getting it as early as we got it.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors going in play right here. Keeley hasn't even announced his dates yet. So Xbox beat Keeley.
Exactly. That's crazy.
But I think that Keeley was waiting. I think that a lot of people in the industry were waiting on Xbox. Being that they're the biggest player in town when it comes to a showcase, right? Now, Sony's going to have something. Nintendo will have something, as they always do, right? But Xbox is the biggest out of the group that are going to have traditional type showcases. We've already seen EA say they're not going to have a big showcase, right? Ubisoft, we don't know if they're going to have a big showcase or if they're going to spread their stuff out over, the rest of the year or whatever the case may be, and put bits and pieces into different places like Keeley's, like Xbox's show, like the Game Awards, etc. So Xbox is the big player in town. So I think everybody was kind of sitting on them as the leader saying, Okay, tell us what date we can start planning around, right? And I think that's why they put it out so early. Number one. Number two, the other interesting part about that announcement was last year they told us what to expect time frame wise.
Yeah, this year they didn't.
As far as how long the show was going to be. They told us instantaneously to expect a 90-minute show.
Yep.
They haven't said that. That means things are still in flux. Now, a little tidbit that we got on PM and the PM on Thursday. Shout out to Mav, of course.
Shout out to Mav.
Mav and I, Fun Speculation, had Rand Althor and my brother from Another Steel Rain on PM and the PM on Thursday night. So go check that out. It was awesome. The man with a million never disappoints, and you know what Steel's bringing every single time. So it was a great show, but Rand actually dropped a little tidbit in there. He said what he's hearing behind the scenes is that nearly every single Xbox first-party studio is delivering content for the showcase.
Wow! Wait a minute.
Not saying.
No.
Go ahead. You go. Go ahead.
No, that's that. I just had to put you on pause for a second.
Yeah.
I've never even considered that. Me personally, I've never considered that could even be a possibility because just the way things have lined up, in order, and the way we've seen like footage, and we've seen some things from a year or two ago that we're hoping we see this year actual gameplay. So that's something I never even could. But go ahead, I didn't even interrupt.
No. So if that's true, and again, Rand just said that's what he's hearing. Obviously it's Rand, so he does hear things, but he's again, it's just rumor. It is what it is. But if we take that and we assume that that's correct, right? All the studios, all the first party studios that are ready. Obviously, I'm not talking about Rand's not talking about like pre-production stuff or anything like that. We're talking about the stuff that's we know is coming in the next 2 to 3 years. If all those studios are really being able at this point to start providing content, a couple different things here. Number one, that shows you that the industry is now getting back to normal, right? As we come out of this pandemic, that means all this craziness, all this working from home and all this stuff that has delayed games is starting to go away, or they've got all the processes in place now that they're working efficiently, because we know for a fact that's a big deal for them to stop and create something for one of those showcases. Even though to us it seems like it would be simple, we have heard from plenty of people, including devs, who say no, it's not that simple. You do take away time and resources from the game.
Update here.
Yep.
Zinc is saying that the Xbox division did give a 90-minute time. I don't know.
I didn't see that, Zinc.
Either. Zinc, send the tweet. Deploy, if you saw it, send the tweet as well. Like if it's official that it's 90 minutes, let me know.
Because it was not in the Xbox.
Yeah, wire. It wasn't in the wire. So once again, send it to me. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely do that though, because I do want to know. That was one of the questions I had for Rand, and Rand thought that maybe an hour 45, but he doesn't think it'll go 2. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I think they'll probably try to do 90 again. I think that's a sweet spot for this type of show. But anyways, I think that this means that all the studios are getting back to normal again, or again, have those processes in place to make it efficient. So they are able to provide Phil and his team content for the showcase, right? That's a good sign, because we saw a lot of CGI trailers. And like you just got done saying, PTK, we want to see gameplay this time around. And I think that this year we're going to see more gameplay than we did last year, right? So I think that the reason why they got it out so early is because, number one, people were waiting on them to kind of figure out what they were going to do for the rest of the year. Number two, they've got the content lined up already. They know, they are confident. Like you said, PTK, this shows confidence. They know they already have more than enough. They're going to be deciding what to cut, what to save for later in the year for other shows potentially. That's the decision making that's happening now, but they're not having to wait on people. I think last year they were having to wait for content and see who was going to come through, right? So I think
parties, things like that.
Right, exactly. I think this year's a totally different story. So they're just like, lock it down. June 12th, we're going. Let's do this. Let everybody know so everybody can figure their stuff out, but we're good. So I think that's what this shows here with this announcement. This was big. Again, everybody can say, well, it's just the date. It's just a save the date. Yeah, but you don't understand. Again, with no E3 this year, Xbox is the best show in town. Xbox is going to have the most content out of any publisher or console maker out there this year. Okay. bar none. They're going to have more content to show than
I agree
else.
with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. They did last year, and I don't even think it was close.
Correct.
It wasn't even
Correct.
close. So
correct. So I think that's huge for the industry. It gets people hyped because people know that, guess what? This is Starfield. And that's the other thing, right? And again, I'm not just playing off my Starfield hype here. Go look at the logo that they launched for the showcase.
I saw that and I said I tweeted out the picture for Starfield and said same energy because you see the little horizon with the sun behind the plane. Look, listen, we don't know how intentional these things are.
Oh,
but that's pretty damn. That's pretty damn. This pretty damn is about as blatant and or close as I could think. So
the Xbox symbol eclipsing the planet that we saw in the early Starfield trailers. Come on, man. We know where this is going. Go ahead, Fuzz. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say, if you remember the thing for the showcase last year, for their E3 last year, you could see like the numbers for like an odometer, which was Horizon 5, and then you could see like the Halo ring because Halo. Yeah, so it definitely leans heavily to Starfield being the centerpiece of this show. So
yeah, and that's what everybody's waiting on, right? Everybody knows that again, this is what's so funny about just being in this community, like, and realizing like, how small it is and whatever else. All the nonsense we've been hearing about Starfield, oh, it's no big deal that Bethesda's exclusive to Xbox. It's, whatever. It's Bethesda. We don't care about it. Guess what? That's all going to disappear June 12th. And, it's kind of funny because you can feel the energy just from that logo and everybody realizing that we are that close to seeing Starfield.
That last episode of that thing into the Starfield or whatever, the music was amazing. It was so Fuzz, and I'm gonna give you a lot of credit for this, Fuzz. Every time they do one of those, it feels to me like I get more and more excited because they feel so personal. And I feel like I'm learning so much about the game. I don't know. I'm not the type to be like, okay, I absolutely need to see gameplay. At this point, I'm so invested in the process in which they're making this game, the time, the care. They're highlighting specific parts of this game for a reason. They're taking their time highlighting. Just the music has its own episode. That's important. They're building something here. They're building a universe right in front of us. Yeah. So I'm gonna give you credit for that, Fuzz, because you said that these are the type of things that you enjoy that they do.
Oh yeah, like the whole episodic thing where they go and just tease you a little bit by little bit each time. I think is possibly the best way to kind of build that momentum, build that hype and everything. It's like each time you're looking forward to the next episode, as opposed to like if you show all of the stuff at once, it's kind of like, oh, well, what next? Well, when's the game coming out? And then everybody's just like twiddling their thumbs until the game comes out. So having these like little things to look forward to each month type of deal, for me, is just the big lead up to playing that game, because I know there's going to be a lot of us sinking a lot of hours when that thing is able to be playable on Game Pass and stuff. So, but I'll let Pong finish on his showcase stuff.
No. I love this. Again, it's free flowing. This is what I love. All right. This is what Steel and I do for 4.5 hours.
And I got a question, Pong. Yeah. Directly at you as well.
Yeah.
Do we see everything? Are we going to see? Is that the only place we're seeing Starfield, or are they still going to do their own event closer to the actual day it comes out?
That's a big question. That's a huge question. I haven't decided on which way I'm leaning on that yet. But to go back to your point too about these little tidbits that they're doing. Look, this is so funny to me because there's a whole generation, maybe 2 generations of people that really don't understand how good Bethesda is at marketing. One of the things we talked about when this acquisition went through was that Bethesda would be able to teach Xbox on how to do marketing. And you've already seen that.
It's rubbed off already, dude.
You saw it in the showcase last year. That pacing was Bethesda. Okay. I guarantee you they had some talks, sit downs about how to do shows, etc. They know what they're doing. These little lead up things. This is Todd and his element. This is Todd and his team doing what they do best. This is, again, the confidence in a team that has made some of the greatest experiences gamers have ever had. Pillars of gaming. And they just roll this out nice and easy. This is a team who knows they're hitting their date 11/11/22, right? This is a team that knows that everything is going according to plan, and they've got it all worked out. And we're just going to keep giving people breadcrumbs all the way till we show it. And it's a great thing to witness and watch, and to see people realizing and understanding that when it's done well, you can do it this way. You don't have to show gameplay. You can build hype through things just like this if you've got the right team who can sit down and do these little excerpts where they talk about the game and just kind of don't even tell you really specifics, but just give you general feelings. When that comes across the screen as they're talking, man, people just, like you said, it gives you chills, PTK. It's one of those things you sit down and you just watch these people, and they're so comfortable in what they're doing. It's amazing, and I love this. That's why I was chuckling while Fuzzy was talking about it, because there's a generation or two who have never experienced a Bethesda launching a new IP as big as Starfield from Todd Howard and the A-Team, what this is like. This is a master class, right? By some of the masters. And it's amazing to watch it happen again. For somebody like me, who's deep into this whole industry and loves this kind of stuff, it's fantastic to hear people getting excited about it. What was the second part? Did you throw another question at me?
No, it's all good. It was just about, are we only seeing Starfield?
Yeah. Or only see, I get so wrapped up. I was just thinking about
it's all
that.
Good, bro. It's all good.
Are we seeing it all? That's the biggest question, man. I like I said, they can do this a bunch of different ways. I think they give Todd 15 to 20 minutes on stage to open the showcase. And I think that he shows a good portion of what they normally would do without getting too far into the deep end, right? So if you go back again and watch Fallout 4,
somebody posted the time on. Somebody posted all of the videos, the YouTube videos of all of the releases for the Fallout games and all of the Bethesda stuff, and their times vary quite a bit, all the way up to 20 minutes, all the way down to like 6 or 7 minutes.
Correct. So, exactly. So I think this is a 15 to 20 minute. I think that they go through the gameplay. They show us the creation process, the character creation process. That's always a main focus, to show off the new creation engine 2, because they talked about how much more detailed the NPCs are and your character are. I think they show that. I think they talk a little bit about the RPG aspects that they're bringing back, because they said that they were definitely going to lean heavier into the RPG side of things, which a lot of us fans are loving hearing. Again, as great as Skyrim is, and Fallout 4 was, it still lost a little bit of that RPG aspect. They went to a little bit more action, so I can't wait to see what they're doing there. And then we're going to get some gunplay. We're going to get a little tiny bit of exploring, and I think they give us one of those wow walkout moments that they talk about, because they said in Starfield there's 2. They always show the walkout moment, but I think they give us one, and I think they save us the other one until they actually launch the game and let everybody experience that for themselves. So I think we do 15 to 20 minute presentation, and then afterwards, whether it's the next day like they did last year with a show with like Paris, where they deep dive some of this stuff. Then they go into more of the technical aspects, some of the differences in the creation engine 2, show off that kind of stuff. Or they may even wait further closer to launch, and then like a QuakeCon, or maybe have a Starfield day in October, where you really get a full deep dive. So I think they are going to save a little bit. I don't think it's going to be the full-blown presser that they always do. It's going to be close, but I think they do cut some of it for this showcase and then save that till later. That's my current thought. Go ahead.
The good thing is that they have enough that, like, I think most people, and with them, and this is another benefit as well, and I don't think people are thinking about this, the fact that they're giving us these tidbits, they're building a game, they're painting a picture. And this game is massive, and I think that this is what they're telling us. They're highlighting this is a fucking huge game. Like, we put a lot of shit in this game. Like, that's what those little videos say as well. We're taking months just on the audio.
This is why people don't understand. Again, people, it's funny how the years go by, right? And games kind of wane or whatever else, even though we just got Skyrim released again for the 10th anniversary. But how many people are going back and playing it other than me and really the big Skyrim fans? But it's funny how that happens when a studio like Bethesda does such incredible things, but then they have this period of time where they kind of, are making their next big thing, and people forget it. Again, gamers have the shortest term memories in history, and they forget, and then the memes start coming in, right? Fallout 76 happens, so then you hear Todd meme over and over again. It just works and all that kind of stuff, right? And then you also hear Bethesda start to pick up, and that crowd gets louder, and everybody else kind of dies down. The praise dies down. Then people forget. Again, when this hits, people are going to remember why Bethesda is held in reverence by a lot of us gamers, and it's going to shock some people's systems, and they're going to be like, "Oh,
I cannot
now
wait.
I get it."
I cannot wait till people start to these review copies start going out.
Yeah.
And
I'm the eye emojis
start going up, and the star emojis,
yeah,
and the holy shit
ships,
emojis, and the rocket ship,
yeah,
and the mind blown emojis, all of that shit is gonna go up, man. I'm telling you right now. So, and another thing too, the fact that the game is so large and expansive, that gives them an excuse to hold shit off and say, we'll show the rest at another event. Yeah, like that kind of gives them an excuse to say, okay, we have so much shit, like we're just gonna put the rest at this other event. We'll do a full 20-minute breakdown, and we'll do a YouTube 15-minute YouTube video, on the whatever else we want to talk about. So that's a possibility.
And before we got sidetracked on Starfield, that's what I was going to say. They have some bigger games they do have to show this year. They got to show Redfall, right? They've got to give Redfall.
They have to show that because it comes out this year. They have to,
right? And Motorsport is another one that they have to show, right? So they do have some bigger titles this year that they do have to give some light to. That's why I think that Todd doesn't necessarily get the full Todd. We don't get the full Todd experience that we might get out of, again, I don't know, because this is the first new IP from Todd Howard in over 2 decades, people. This is a baby he's wanted to have born for over 2 decades. I don't know what he's honestly thinking. We could look back at the Fallout stuff. We could look back at the Skyrim stuff, Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, but this is different. This is really different. I don't know how they're going to approach this, to be honest. I really don't. It's interesting.
That's the fun part about it.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting.
Go ahead, Fuzz. It's on you, bro. Definitely want to get your opinion on this.
Oh, as far as the showcase in general, man, I definitely agree that they opened up the show with Starfield.
Okay, so wait 1 second.
Yeah,
so chat. I want to know so Fuzz and Pong are both in agreement that they're opening with Starfield again. Where are we at on this chat? Shout out to Caitlin as well. Say hi to Mav. I don't know if he's there or whatever the case may be, but shout out to FSP, always showing love every Saturday. But chat, are you guys in agreement? Are they opening with Starfield again? Let us know in the chat right now. But go ahead, Fuzz.
No, I think they opened up with Starfield, and I think it was Hyena on Twitter that went through all the previous showcases and things and displayed the times. And my guesstimate is like 20 minutes just on Starfield on that intro, and then like 5 minutes of solid gameplay. Not from the beginning of the game itself, but somewhere 5 minutes straight of gameplay. So they're going to give Todd at least 25 on stage type of deal. I think there will be like an after show, kind of like what they did with Paris last year, where we might get more, or we might see like the first 18 minutes at IGN or something like that type of deal. But I think they open it up with 20 minutes of Starfield, going over some of the mechanics of it, going over some of the, not just the lore, because they've already kind of touched a bit on that, but like some of the stuff that you can expect. Like if you signed up for the this Starfield commission, and it's like, hey, this is what you're going to be expected to do, have at it, and begin your journey type of deal. After that, I don't know which one they go to next, whether it be Redfall or if it's going to be Motorsport. I'm pretty sure they're going to show a couple games in between there.
Those in. Yeah, I think they're going to pepper Redfall in. They're going to pepper, because the format last year, Bethesda kind of got its own portion within the showcase. They got its own like 25-minute like own little portion where they showed some of the other stuff, Bethesda, ESO, that type of stuff, the update. So we might get it in there. Like I'd like to see it like outside of that, but that's interesting too, because once again there's a lot going on here. So go ahead, Fluff.
No, but I think they're going to kind of tease me and other racers, racing fans, where they're going to, after Starfield, we're going to see some car stuff, but it's not going to be Forza. They're going to save that for like the middle of the show. That's going to be like the glue in the middle kind of thing. I think they're going to show Need for Speed since E3, since EA is not doing their own show, they're going to have some of their stuff kind of mixed in here. So I think we see Need for Speed gets unveiled in this showcase. It's not just going to be a first party deal type of thing. I think we get, some of the other, big publishers out there are going to have at least one gem from their, upcoming releases mixed in there. So we get to see Need for Speed. There's going to be a couple other games going. And then I think the mid part of the show is going to be Motorsport, where it's going to basically, they're going to kind of show a car like on stage type of thing, and people are going to think, oh, that's what we're really seeing this car on stage. No, it's going to be like in game, looking like basically reality and whatnot. And it'll probably be the same car that they actually bring to the stage as well, but they're going to show us in all of the 4K glory and ray trace glory of the driver putting their helmet on, the racing suit zipped up, putting their driving gloves on and getting in the car and ripping across a few tracks type of thing. And I think that's, hopefully we get a release date for, September or maybe even a little bit sooner. I know there's a couple of people that's of the mindset that we might even get like a shadow drop of it. I don't know if they'll quite be ready for that, but it would be awesome if he did. But I think Motorsport definitely gets a big chunk of time. Especially with the direction that they're going, it's going to be like an ongoing thing. So they're kind of, to my understanding, doing away with numbers. So this game is going to get, monstrous updates, whether it be tracks, cars, different, racing series and things like that. I think this will be like the baseline of which pretty much every racing sim that's out there is going to be looking to this as what they need to, aspire to type of deal. And then I think, Redfall is towards the end, but not the last show. That one, a lot of people are of like the October mind frame, which it would be kind of fitting considering
because of the theme, vampires,
kind of thing to some extent. But I would not be surprised if it gets shadow dropped as well. It's like, hey, here's the non-CGI gameplay that's not too far off from that CGI you saw, a year or so ago, and download it today and play it in Game Pass type of thing. So would not be surprised if they pull something like that. But I think they end the show with one of a couple of things. And the one I'm leaning to most, because it's been talked about by Phil, and Windows Central has kind of had a glimpse at it. I think the show ends with Compulsion's game. Was it Project Nightmare? Or, and people are going to be like kind of a miss of why Hellblade 2 is not there. I think it ends with Project Mara. Because I think that one, even though it's not their main game, I think it's visually it's going to be a stunner. Or, which, another visual stunner, which a lot of people are hoping is like a Gears related game, is the non-Gears related game, possibly from from Coalition, where who knows what it might be, or maybe it's a kind of like a prequel leading to the Gears lore, kind of like let's say a century before everything goes down type of deal. But I think whatever they're doing in Unreal Engine 5 probably ends the show type of deal. So it's either Compulsion, Project Mar from Ninja Theory, or Coalition ending the show with something that's going to melt our faces visually. But man, it's great to hear that they announced the show early. Like you guys said, the confidence level, I think, of the Xbox team in general, outside of all of the noise with the Activision deal and everybody trying to find their way to weasel into, poo-poo it or badmouth it, is not going to stop the deal. But I think they've been waiting a while, kind of sitting on their hands for the right moment. And I think they, especially with Phil tweeting out, he's been to a lot of the studios, and it's like his favorite part of the job, getting to see them like, hey, here's what we've been working on, here's what we have ready for the show, and here's some things from the last time you visited that we've been able to implement into the game and things like that, like, or basically a progress check type of deal. But man, if the rumors are true about almost every studio having,
that's crazy.
Submit, I mean, yes, 23 studios, you figure close to 20 or 20 plus things that are going to be submitted.
There's going to be a lot of third-party stuff too.
Yeah, and some of them are going to be DLC things. Like I'm also looking forward to Forza Horizon 5's announcement for their DLC, because this is around about that time where they talk about it, and I've already put my 2 cents out there. Like just remaster the maps from the other Horizons and make it where I can go to the airport or the shoreline in the current game, and go to any of those maps and have it where it's in the same fidelity as what Horizon 5 is now, and add a few cars for that region. So when we go back to Australia, you see a lot more of the Holdens and things like that. But yeah, I want to see what that's going to be like. Maybe we see some additional Minecraft stuff, even though I'm not the biggest Minecraft person, but Minecraft Dungeon was pretty cool when that dropped, and seeing if they're working on something different or new or something along those lines. Because I'm hearing, what was it, like a possible Pokemon style something that's being worked on, or is that like not Mojang that's involved in
I haven't
that?
heard about that. I don't
Talk
know.
about the Monster Hunter game.
No,
Or,
not.
okay,
I know
okay.
that's the was that
yeah,
certain affinity.
Certain affinity, yeah.
But I'm hearing, I can't remember where I saw it, but there's like something Pokemon related and Minecraft kind of blend that's kind of being worked on.
I think we get nothing Minecraft this year for once. I think they've got so much now. I think they saved that for the Minecraft big.
Minecon.
They always had Minecon. Yeah, thank you, Fuzzy. I'm surprised you missed a giant one though.
Well, there's
Avowed.
Where Avowed. I was gonna say like
brother, it's coming 100%.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're going to show it. Yeah. I know it's a 2023 thing.
Yeah,
I don't know how. Like they could almost give Obsidian its own little half-hour segment just for. They're going to talk about if it's not already completely fleshed out about Grounded 1.0 with their full release, which I know they have like a public test server thing that's leading up to the official launch of like the 1.0, and they're going to probably, if they save it for the show and have it where it's officially released, and here's all the additional content that's been kind of working in the background, and they'll be with the 1.0. Obsidian's got that they're going to definitely spend some time on showing all the things from the beginning to now. Yeah, Avowed, that is a huge one. I know they're going to definitely want to show that, because we couldn't tell if it was CGI or if it was in-engine stuff. I was under the belief it was in-engine stuff that we saw from that trailer, but considering the story from what I'm hearing, it with it being kind of linked to Pillars of Eternity kind of thing, I think it's further along than what we even thought beforehand. Like, it was something that I guess they were working on before they were acquired. They
were ready to show last year. They pulled it from the show for Hellblade. Right, so they were ready to show last year. That I'm saying that's the early 2023 game. That Avowed comes out early 2023, spring or before February. We could see it, and I think that's going to get a big blowout. And then, like you said, Fuzzy, Obsidian. Look, they're going to show off something for Grounded, because we know Grounded, the official launch of Grounded is coming closer and closer. And then they got Josh Sawyer's game, his passion project. That's ready to rock and roll too. They're going to show that here too. I mean, again, Obsidian's the one we heard that they wanted to have a game for the next 5 years, right? At least one game each of the next 5 years was their internal goal. So you're right. There's a lot to show, but I was just curious because you were plugging away. You had it all laid out, like how they were going to do it. But Avowed's going to get a nice showcase in there as well. Like I said, I expect pacing to be well done, but I think last year with the pandemic and with everything being CGI more so than gameplay, it was quick hitters, right? It was more like a sizzle reel, even though it was like a lot. It was more like a sizzle reel. It was those quick hits over and over again. I still think we're going to have portions of that show. I still think they want to keep the pacing up, but with these games that they do have to kind of show off, I think that while they might cut back the time a little bit, as far as we're not going to have like 10-minute interludes of, Motorsport or Redfall or whatever the case may be, other than Starfield opening the show. They're going to do a faster pace, but I think we see less this year because we have so many games that they're actually going to have gameplay for. That's what the interesting part is. And I think we get more shows later this year as well. So there's a lot to consider here. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait. This is really exciting, man. This is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get something like an EXO later on this year, because there's just I think they have they have something like 35 teams, and this is before even the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and each one of those teams is working on something, whether it's like a DLC or an expansion for an existing game that one of the other teams is already released or working on, or it's a whole new IP type of thing. They have so many teams working on stuff, and oh, by the way, they're going to definitely show some of the Halo stuff. Like I know they're going to have their own Halo dedicated shows throughout, like each month they're going to have something as far as an update, but I think we do get to see maybe a glimpse of the battle royale, or maybe a glimpse of season 3 in this June 12th showing. So 343 is going to have some stuff to show as well, and Certain Affinity. I don't know if we get to see that Monster Hunter game, but I'm pretty sure we get to see, was it Tanaka or Tatanka or whatever they codenamed the battle royale. But man, oh man, there's just so much stuff, and I think because, like you were saying, with them coming out of the whole pandemic, they are going to be better prepared. They're going to have things where it's not going to be as much of, I wouldn't say a rush job when you look at it as far as CGI. That's stuff that instead of taking away direct from the game production itself, it's like, all right, just make a slice, even though that's still time consuming and resource intense. But it's I think they'll have a lot more time to be like, all right, here's a loop that we've already shown, let's say Phil or Matt Booty or something like that, as far as part of our progress. We could turn that into something to show, and it's polished enough, maybe make sure all the textures are where they need to be. And even though the game might be at least a year out, it's still probably pretty close to what it would look like for release and stuff. But yeah, I think they show more than they did last year, but they do spend a bit more time on the stuff, like you're saying, that's going to be coming out within the 2 years. But I'm pretty sure we get a lot of those little third parties, whether it be a sizzle reel or an indie sizzle reel or something like that, because was it Somerville and Replaced and a few others?
Yeah, made a ton of stuff, man.
Impact in their showing last year as well. So I'm pretty sure we'll get a healthy dose of that as well. Again, this showcase as well.
And then the third party stuff, it's going to be crazy.
Yep,
so much.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and so I think Deploy confirmed that he didn't see the time. That they didn't see the time. Yep. So we are still, once again, as far as we know, no time frame has been officially confirmed. So we're going to leave it at that until we officially get a time frame at some point. I'm sure, we'll get a tweet, here soon. But we're actually allowing you guys to take over the show at this point. So it is now chat questions time. And I know you guys do a bunch in there, so I actually have to go back. So there was a few. If I don't know if you see any Pong or Fuzz real quick.
Yeah, let me scroll back here.
Yeah, let's see here. Paul. Yeah, Gabe O had asked before, and I told him to hold his question until the end, and we would certainly take it. So Gabe O just asked if we thought that Sony is worried. Do you think that Sony is worried? Here's the deal, Gabe. So worried is a strong word.
I was going to say exactly how I was going to say it.
Yep. It's a certain connotation when you say worried. All right. So I don't think Sony is worried. Okay. I think Sony is obviously paying attention.
Aware would be a better.
And aware. Yes. I was aware of what's happening. Sony understands what's happening in the market right now. Again, we've spoken on this a bunch of times. When it comes to Jim Ryan, he understands. He gets the numbers. He can see where everything is trending. He's an analytics guy. So I think that Jim Ryan is well aware. Now, Jim Ryan's problem is that he does not have a Satya at Sony. Okay. Yes. Like Phil has Satya. Okay. And Satya is all in. Phil only has to convince one person. And then Satya does the rest with all the investment group and the board and all that kind of stuff. But people are going to listen because of the numbers, right? Jim, on the other hand, has to convince a board of Sony Corp that they need to change what has made them one of the most successful video game companies, arguably the most successful in different metrics, right? Yeah. In different metrics, even with Nintendo, arguably one of the most successful video game companies in the history of all, right? So he's got to convince those group of board. And again, go look at the pictures if you don't believe me, right? Their pictures are out there. I'm not generalizing. I'm not being an ageist, none of that stuff. A lot of that board are older dudes who don't really like change. Okay. They again, there's an Eastern philosophy involved as well, that business that works, it's a slower turn for a company like Sony than it is for a company like Microsoft that was, at one point in trouble until Phil convinced Satya and everybody else that this was the new way. And look, it's working. So again, that's Jim's problem. So I don't think Sony's worried. Sony still has the mind share worldwide. Nobody's taking that away from them at this point. Now, is Microsoft eating into that? Yeah, they're eating into that. They're starting to get back some of that 360 swagger that's been missing. But at the same time, Sony's still market leader. Sony still has some of the best worldwide studios out there, right? Some of the top talent is at Sony, right? A lot of it. So they still hold a lot of the cards. So no, Sony's not worried. Short answer. They are aware. They are paying attention to Microsoft and Xbox. Jim is trying to change certain culture things there when it comes to games going to PC. They started their subscription service, even though it's beta form, even though, again, we didn't even get into all that nonsense with 2-hour trials and all that kind of stuff. But he's trying. And so I think that right there shows that they are like, now we have somebody that's fighting against us. And oh, by the way, they also changed the game we're playing. So now we got to go ahead and readjust there as well. That's my short answer.
Oh no, for sure. I think me and Fuzz are on the same in agreement as well. I think that once again, I said you change. That's how you win the game. And essentially that's what business is. You change the rules, and Game Pass came along and like everything went left, like it completely altered the entire course of the generation. So I'm 100% in agreement. I agree with you as well in that regard. I do want to get to this question as well. Deploy, shout out to you, bro. He said, do you think we get Indiana Jones, Fable, or a Perfect Dark showing? So I kind of want to dive in on that little bit. So do I think we get showing as in, I mean, I guess we can take it as just anything, right? Like any type of information regarding those 3 games. That's a great question. Indiana Jones is tricky. I mean, we know we already got, we know it's being made. We know it's coming out at some point. Mm-hmm. Do we get more about Indiana Jones? I don't think we necessarily need to. I don't even know if it were fit in the show. I mean, you could throw it in. I mean, I don't know what stage it would be at this point in time. Maybe they have some gameplay. That would be cool. Even a CGI trailer would be kind of nice too. So I would say out of the 3, that one probably would be the most likely for me. Fable is kind of tough. We don't know how far along Fable is. We might get something Fable. There's so much, man. This makes it so difficult. And Perfect Dark, we've heard about the issues with Perfect Dark, but things seem to be on track there with now them getting help from what's the damn studio they're getting help from now? Crystal Dynamic. Yeah, it's come on board and pretty much taken over that game for the most part. So I don't know, Fuzz. I'm actually gonna throw this over to you, bro, because I think Indiana Jones is the most likely one. Fable, possibly Perfect Dark. That's a bit shaky as well.
I think for Indiana Jones, we possibly see, like, I know there's hints of it's going to be more of like Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of thing. I think the time frame as far as when the game is going to be taking place. So I think we might get maybe a little bit more info as far as solidifying that, as far as things that will tie into the lore of that movie, or at least that particular segment of Indiana Jones. I don't think we get, full on gameplay. And I don't know if it winds up being full CGI. I think it will be in-engine stuff, because I think they're probably far enough along where they can kind of, make a scene type of thing in the engine that they already have worked out. As far as Fable, if we get anything Fable related, I don't want people to be disappointed, but I know there's a lot of stuff that's been in news as far as them not having all the RPG element stuff kind of up to where they would like to be, and they're definitely hiring talented individuals to get them caught up on that. But I think if we see anything Fable, I think we'll see some of the environmental stuff. Like, that stuff has been, I would say, shortly after Forza Horizon 4, a few of their environmental artists that went over to the Fable team had already had concept artwork that they've even posted online, that they were, they checked with higher ups that they were allowed to show some of the concept art. So I think from a world building standpoint, we could see kind of like the NPCs through the towns and some of the environmental stuff, like maybe a flyby. I don't think we see a full interaction as far as gameplay. I don't think we see any more CGI stuff. I think we possibly, if we do see anything Fable, it'll be more of like a flying over the world and showing the scope or size of the world itself and some of the environments and biomes and things like that. Because that stuff I know is far.
My thing with Fable for us, and I don't know if you guys, maybe you and Pong are on board with this. I think Fable will be a hit at the VGAs.
Yeah,
like I think you could put it there and it would be just fine. Like you could debut it at the VGAs.
Here's my short answer on the entire question. By the way, I think Xbox fans or anybody looking forward to, any gamers out there just looking forward to Xbox showcases, need to start changing their mindset. Back in the day, Xbox had to show things in advance, right? Sometimes far out, because they didn't have other stuff to actually put in a show. So we wound up getting kind of the same situation where Sony teased Spider-Man and all that stuff very early, right? That's the old way. I think we have to change our mindset and understand that from here on out, there's so much being made, so much ready to show, that they don't have to do that anymore. So showcases like the E3 one especially are going to be specifically, I'm not saying never, right? They might throw a tease in there. So I'm not going to say 100. I never do absolutes. But what I'm saying is it's less likely now than ever before that we will see anything beyond next year. And so if you take it from that standpoint, we're not going to see Fable. We're not going to see Perfect Dark. Those are both 2024 at the earliest. Okay. So I think that those are held off. Indiana Jones has Todd Howard's name attached to it. That's his second baby. Okay. He's wanted to do an Indiana Jones go forever. I think if Indiana Jones is ready for next year, it will be a holiday game. We'll have the same scenario that we have this year with Starfield, to a lesser degree. Obviously, it's not going to be as big as Starfield. I think that Todd is not going to show anything Indiana Jones until they're ready, and I think it'll be next year's.
That's a good point.
I think that's what's going to go with that. So I think that there's just so much already available to rock and roll. Again, I'm not going to say never. We might get a surprise of a Fable or a Perfect Dark.
And once again, this is all before we know the time length, the length of the show, and things like that as well too. So once again, this is all up in the air. We're just pulling balloon strings at this point, guys. So
I just think it's going to be focused on. I would think that we'd see something like Contraband, right, or a tease from IOI's Dragon, which we have not seen a tease from. Something like that.
Dude, there's a lot.
Yeah,
that's all we're saying. That's all we're saying.
There's so much. We've already seen a tease for Fable, right? We've already seen a tease for Perfect Dark, right? Next step is something more substantial. Are they going to do that, or would they go back to teasing something else that we haven't even really seen a tease of, like IOI's Dragon? Would that be more appropriate to follow that same timeline? You see what I'm saying? So that's what I think we have to look at there.
Yeah, and once again, there's a lot of variables here, but let's get to some of these other questions. We got a lot. You guys have a lot of you guys have a lot of questions. We appreciate you guys dropping these questions in the chat.
Hey, you guys somehow make me in charge of Xbox. I will show you everything. I've said that. I want Phil to come out and have a 3-4 hour show.
We're not giving you the briefcase. You're not getting
I want the roadmap through 2028. Okay, period. So come out and tell me what it is.
We're not giving you the launch code. You're not getting the briefcase. You're staying far away from it. Nope, because he's letting everything out. You want to talk about release the Kraken? Everything's out.
I will have a handwritten note in pencil on a loose leaf piece of paper with a name of a game and say, this is coming in 2029, folks. Crazy. That's what I would do if I was Phil.
So let's get shout out to Gabo for the $4.99 super chat, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, brother. He I think he asked us about 12 times in the chat, but shout out to you, Gabo. He said, great that Xbox has outsold the PS5 recently, but are they really doing better than Sony, or are they just outdoing themselves compared to last gen? What is the actual question, Gabe?
What metric? Well,
they're definitely outdoing their previous stance for last gen. Are they doing better than Sony? It's tough to say. I think in the grand scheme of things, they're doing better than what probably even Sony anticipated. I'll put it that way. I think Sony they didn't expect this to be as much of a cakewalk as the PS4 to Xbox One gen, but I do think they are surprising them in how well they're moving consoles or moving hardware, how the Game Pass messaging has been kind of catching on enough so to the point where Jim Ryan made his comments in the past about who plays old games, but yet now it's in their upcoming service that they've just they've made some tweaks to what they've already had and kind of rebranded it to kind of funnel people to that. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I think Xbox is doing much better than anticipated from the way Sony looks at things. So it's not that they're worried or anything along those lines, but I do believe they, like what Pong and PTK said earlier, they are noticing, they are alert or aware, and it's going to be, I guess, at this point, much like I view EA with Vincent Pella, it's almost like Jim Ryan's probably got like a few things that he's holding, the board not really accountable for, but it's like, hey, we really need to move on this PC, stuff, like getting games day and date with PC, or at least build up on our PC division, which they are doing. They're hiring, a lot more people for that. So I think it's one of those things where he's probably like, hey, if they get another month, or if they get, if they start eating more into our market share, we're going to have to move on these things that you guys are a little bit hesitant to. The board is more of a traditional, style, run of business type of deal. So it's I think Jim Ryan is now trying to show him, hey, these numbers are going to take a while to move or change. If we keep on, taking this slow approach to things, we're going to have to possibly, move sooner than later on, whether it be PC stuff or day and date stuff, and, get more of these games as a service kind of, what was it, like Frontline or something along those lines. Like Factions needs to happen. Like Factions is one of those that I'm still surprised we don't hear anything about, which hopefully for their E3 equivalent show, we hear about Factions. That needs to happen in like ASAP.
Spring next year.
Oh yeah.
No, it's my guess. Game free to play, monetized, Factions spring next year.
Yeah,
awesome. So I want to get the Focus Actives question here, because this is a fun question, and we love to do this. Guess where we reside this time of year? Tell them, Pong. Tell them exactly where we're at.
Speculation Town, sunny 75, unicorns, rainbows. The tour bus is packed. We're bringing in more flights just to get the amount of people coming in. It's been crazy, especially with the WB stuff late yesterday. Yesterday. Yeah. It was crazy.
So let me get the Focus Active question here, because shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you. Once again, subscribe if you're new here. If you're enjoying it, thank you. Let us know if you appreciate the show. He said one of the best parts of E3 was the surprises. What, if anything, do you think MS has up their sleeves? This is always fun because this almost ties in with that what are they going to end the show with question, right? Like everybody seems to be consensus that Starfield's opening again, and we're getting like a lengthy, but once again, what's going to end the show? So any surprises? I haven't much thought about this, to be honest. Not yet. I know we're getting there as time goes by. I'm sure that question was going to come up. It was probably going to be a topic, probably within the next month on the show. So we just get into it a bit early here. So, Pong, I mean, any surprises?
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go out on a limb for the showcase, right? I'll give you two. Okay, two. Okay, I'll give you two. There's plenty more that I could list off here, because the ideas around the showcase have been flying left and right. So number one, Kojima is ready. Kojima's rocking and rolling. That ends the show. That absolutely ends the show. They talk about the cloud, the future of the cloud gaming. That's been a big focus of them recently. If you've listened to Sarah Bonds and Phil's interviews, it's always about the cloud. They're putting the tools up in the cloud. They want to get more accessibility. Look, you can't get anybody bigger than Kojima as far as promoting the cloud. If his next game, which we believe it is going to be cloud-based, that's why he wants to work with Xbox, because the Stadia deal fell through.
The Kojima thing, so just to kind of, the Kojima thing is very, 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 because we heard this like a year ago from, I believe Grubb was the first person to officially break this. Shout out to Jeff Grubb, but hopefully I'll get him on the show at some point. That'd be fun.
That'd be amazing.
Oh yeah, it'd be so fun. But Yeah, that's very interesting because that I mean, I don't know how many people are sold that that's an actual thing.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of people say it's not going to happen, that he's Sony all the way.
Yeah. No, so I mean, once again, who knows where that goes? But that's so
Yeah.
you said you had another one too. That was one, right?
Yeah. I got one that's way out on a limb. Okay,
oh, wow.
Way out. There's been a little tiny smoke out there for a little bit of time here. I think that Bethesda has a surprise for us. And I think because of the grumbling from people about Starfield, how long it's going to take to get Elder Scrolls 6, and then the next Fallout being so far away, I think that Todd officially gives us confirmation that rumor that we heard about them putting together a separate studio, a separate team to work on remasters of their older titles is in play. And they are currently working on, first of all, Morrowind is coming back as a remaking Morrowind from the ground up, which would be a brand new Elder Scrolls game for a lot of people in the interim while we wait on Elder Scrolls 6. And then also Fallout 3 will be in the process of also getting a facelift into the new Creation Engine 2. And that both of those will be coming in those kind of in between spots between Elder Scrolls 6 and the next Fallout.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. I mean, I would. That's fairly far out there on a limb. I wouldn't say crazy.
No, not crazy.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say crazy. Go ahead, Fuzz. So I'm curious to see. And Forza doesn't count. Forza is not a.
Well, I kind of touched on them a little bit earlier. Like, I think the show ends with like Project Mara, and I know there's probably a few people that disagree, but I think it's one of those that's interesting enough with the little bit that we saw and how much they've put into this game. I think it winds up being almost like the way 12 minutes was to some extent, where it's like either a single scene or a single room type of deal where you're trying to escape your mind or escape the room or whatever the case may be, with like some horror elements to it and stuff like that. But I think Project Mara or Coalition's non-Gears related UE5 game, I think one of those two ends the show. More so than anything, or Compulsion's game. Unless Compulsion's game is mixed earlier in the show, because that one's been talked about by Phil. That one's been highlighted on Windows Central, and there's a lot of intrigue to the art style that they're going with for that one. I think one of those three things is what ends the show. I'm at least hoping at least one of those three winds up ending the show. And unless they got something completely that'll blow our minds, surprise, like that they're holding. I think the Kojima thing, I still think they want to save that for the Video Game Awards because, his BFF is the host. So it's like, I think that's why they hold the Kojima one for like, the next Video Game Awards type of deal, but we'll see.
Real quick, BTK, before you move on, I got to give a shout out to Other Zinc for giving one of his hyperbolic statements of the evening. So my Saturday is now complete. Thank you for being here, brother. And thank you for, again, if Kojima makes an appearance, I'll throw my Xbox Series X out the damn window. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Again, I feel complete on a Saturday once again, brother. Thank you for doing that.
Don't throw your Xbox out the window. Motorsport's coming,
that's
man.
A bad
hold
idea.
on to that Xbox.
Yeah, you want to hold on to that Zinc. So, but no. So once again, I think that the Compulsion one is actually very interesting too, because I think that's absolutely possible. I think that was absolutely possible that they close the show with that Compulsion game.
And Rand thinks it'll be there. Rand thinks Compulsion's game is because I was on the boat.
To be.
Yeah, I was on the boat when we did our predictions. Was either In Exile's game or Compulsion's game, whichever one is further along. And Rand unequivocally said Compulsion's games is much further along and ready to be shown. So I think Compulsion does show up. And Phil long ago talked about his excitement for that game that they were working on. Like we're talking like a year and a half ago in an interview. Maybe even 2 years. No, we're about a year and a half out since then. He talked about Compulsion and how excited he was for what they were working on. So I do think we see that there.
Absolutely. I think that's a great chance. Absolutely. And I think it's about time. It's been 2 E3s at least. So since they've even mentioned it, or even that we knew it was a thing. So, I think it's just time we see that. And I do think that we do get something tangible from that, like actual gameplay. Maybe it's a short, it could be CGI as well too. I'm fine with that. But maybe even some gameplay depending on, when we're all thinking that this game actually comes out. Could be a 2023 timeline on that, maybe kind of a next fall kind of a thing they give us, maybe, who knows. So let's go ahead and get to some of these other questions. You guys have dropped a lot in here. Let me go back. Shout out to everybody in here watching this live. Appreciate you guys. Where are we at? Let me just, anybody see anything else? Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's see. You said you think they announced more acquisitions. That could happen, I guess. There was some more further back that I didn't get to. He said, so Chris Jones, shout out to you, Chris Jones. He said, do we see Phil on stage at the event? So I think, absolutely. Like, absolutely. He kind of, that's his show. Like that's his. So, he kind of has to be there. Now, I don't know when we see him, right? We didn't see him last year until right after. Was it after Todd? No, it wasn't, because Sarah Bond was right after Todd. Sarah Bond was there. Was he after? I don't remember exactly.
Sarah Bond introduced Starfield last year.
Yeah, right? Sarah Bond followed up. Well, Todd was like right out.
Yeah, Todd was out the gate, and I think this year Pete Hines introduces Todd and Starfield. It's interesting. We will definitely see Phil. Jez has even hinted at that he's hearing that it might be some in person. Actually, at this showcase, he didn't say public. Jez said he didn't think it was public, that there wasn't going to be like actual regular gamers there, but that there was actually going to be press and certain people, influencers, invited to the showcase. So they might actually have a crowd of some kind there.
That would be interesting. If they're able to pull off and get a crowd, it would be a breath of fresh air seeing a actual group of people in person there, to show things too. So that's a great question. And I absolutely think we see Phil, like it's his show, right? That's his. So he faced. He absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And he'll have some type of T-shirt teasing something that we can't figure out what it is. Maybe Compulsion's game that we've never seen before. We don't know what it is, because wasn't last year Redfall?
Yeah, he had a Redfall
shirt. Nobody knew. Yeah, nobody knew what it was really, because it kind of leaked right before, I think, the show, but nobody knew for sure what that was. So yeah, he'll have something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So shout out to Ray. He said, Ray Oid, shout out to you, brother. He said, do you think the rumored Xbox Studio franchise game that's supposed to get their Master Chief Collection Master Chief Light Collection will be at this show?
Steel, if you're listening, this is for you, brother, because Steel is on the train that they announce and again, this is his going out on a limb, but they announced the Marcus Phoenix collection at the showcase. That's something that's been worked on, and they're going to announce it. Not that it's going to be like coming out, this holiday or anything, but that it is in the works. After all of that big push last year, that he thinks that it's time for, obviously he's a Gears head. So again, this is Steele's wish that it is time that they show it off, and that 1, 2, and 3 get their due, just like the Master Chief collection. So,
okay. Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see. We got some new questions here. Shout out to everybody. Luis Jimenez, Chris Jones, appreciate you. Toolman has a great question. Matter of fact, I do want to jump in on that. He said, do you see a new Game Pass second or third party partnership announced at the showcase? Fuzz, I kind of want you to, because this is Fuzz tea leaves, right? Like, so if you guys don't know, Fuzz does this shit behind the scenes. He processes the information, reads the tea leaves, so to speak. But where are you? Because there's a lot going on right now.
Oh, yeah. I do think they probably show another unannounced or one that is not even talked about project that's a third party deal. Although I don't even have an inkling of what that might be at this point. I'm hoping that it is something along the lines of like Splinter Cell. I'm hoping. I don't know. Ubisoft is kind of in this weird funk right now where they want to be bought, but maybe not be bought. But it would probably be best if Xbox is funding, let's say, Splinter Cell, and with it being one of those that was, I guess, an original exclusive on the original Xbox type of deal, I could see that being a third party partnership as opposed to some other things out there. It would be nice. although I highly doubt it, but it would be nice if we get word that, hey, Street Fighter 6 is partnered with Xbox and it's only on Xbox this time. But that might sound a little strange.
That's a bit crazy. That is a bit crazy.
No, but I do think there will be some third-party partnerships announced as far as like maybe games that are going to be like in the 2024, 2025 range. There are a number of ones that people keep on talking about that have been in the works kind of since 2017 range that we kind of haven't really seen anything of yet. Like, what's that one company that did like a high-tech or futuristic Dark Souls? What was that thing called? I keep on forgetting the name of it. It's like not Savage 2, but it's like basically
Surge?
You cut off Surge. That's it.
Yeah.
So that developer I know had some sort of partnership deal with Xbox back around 2017. We haven't really heard much of them, although I don't know what their studio or dev team size is or where they are financially after Surge 1 and 2, because they I guess didn't do as well as anticipated, but they've had a project in the works for some time with Xbox. And there was rumor after the whole deal of Dead Rising falling apart that Xbox had another Capcom partnership for an upcoming game. I still have my doubts that it's like Street Fighter 6.
Another game that's very interesting for us that none of us have talked about, and Pong, and I believe Pong maybe mentioned this, Crysis.
Yeah.
So this next Crysis game, whatever it is going to be at this, I don't think we know at this point, but that's interesting too to see who's like, if I mean that I'm assuming it's third party, but like to see where that goes, who shows that off, which stage that ends up on.
Yeah. So that's quite a possibility because there's been talk about something from that CryEngine developer for some time, and I was under the impression, maybe it's a Rise 2 or like I guess Hunt Showdown made its way onto like the early access for Xbox on console, but yeah, that wasn't the partnership that they had talked about. So it wouldn't be surprising if they do Crysis on there or something.
You guys,
Callisto Protocols also. I think we just saw a tweet recently that they've got a lot more to show.
Oh yeah,
so that could be another one.
Missing one more.
Who?
Killer Instinct.
Oh well,
Killer Instinct with either NetherRealm and Ed Boon and his squad, or Bandai Namco.
Bandai. I was gonna say.
Yep, one of those two are going to be a partnership, and I should have thrown this one in there too. Is a surprise? It's not really well, it kind of is a partnership. I think that they finally have cracked the code with Atlas. And I think that there are rumors right now swirling that actually Persona 3, Persona 4 are being remade. Persona 4 Golden, the one I've been calling for forever. Both of those are being remade and coming to Xbox. And that's a rumor that's now going around. And so I think that partnership with Sega, which we already are aware of, opened the door. And I think we get Persona 3, Persona 4, and I think they shadow drop or announce the date for Persona 5 Royale coming to Game Pass. I think it could be huge. The Eastern developers are where I'd keep my eye on for partnerships.
That's another one too. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So
big time.
So anybody got any other questions? Go ahead and drop them in chat. Let us know. Let us know what you guys got going on. I think Ray mentioned, the Gears games all being put in UE5. That's interesting as well. UE5 is going to come into play a lot at these showcases. We're going to see a whole lot of UE5 stuff, people. Going to dominate next generation or this generation as people make the transition. So y'all want to talk about that at all?
UE5, like Coalition, they're pretty much the wizards of it right now. So I'm really curious to see what that possibly non-Gears game is going to be. But it seems funny. It's like Sony gave Epic a lot of money, and I guess it was to help with the whole UE5 deal as far as maybe them using it or not having to pay as much royalty on if they use it type of thing. But it seems like Microsoft is going to be the main ones benefiting as far as the Unreal Engine 5 stuff, just for ease of, I won't say ease of use, but it seems like for their teams it's easy to use, and they're manipulating it in a way that makes it almost, unrecognizable compared to like other UE5 stuff that's out there. They're definitely leading the pack right now, but with Coalition at the top of that pack. But man, I don't know. It's game changing when people can make music videos using Unreal Engine 5 that have like no, I wouldn't say any technical ability, but like they're new to, creating films or videos and things like that. And you have, environmental artists just, playing around with stuff that make it look better than some, games that are, coming out down the road type of deal. And they're just playing around with the tools, just showing how the lighting effects work and how, the foliage and the different aspects of UE5 are just in their spare time type of thing. So it's a pretty cool setup that I can't wait until it becomes like the main source engine for a lot of upcoming stuff.
No, I agree 100%. So you want to dive in on that, Pong?
It'd be a big undertaking. I'd love to see it, of course. I mean, absolutely. I mean, 1, 2, and 3 are my favorite. Again, Gears changed the industry. At the time, there was nothing like Gears. In a lot of ways, nothing's even come close to what Gears was during its prime. Again, I don't hide my lack of interest in 4 and 5 and a 6 if they're going to continue down the bright road with the whiny kids aspect. I don't like it. I want them to go back to the dark and dreary and more horror-esque elements of 1, 2, and 3 with the dude bro shooters. I that's what I loved about Gears. So I want it to be an Unreal 5. I would love to see the Phoenix Collection be done in Unreal 5. It's a big undertaking though. As easy as it is for games that were made in Unreal 4 to be moved over to 5, it's still a process. To move games over from the original Unreals 2 and 3 is a lot bigger undertaking. There's a lot. It's so different now, the coding and stuff. And I've heard this from 3-Bit, who's an actual developer who's worked with Unreal 5 and Unreal 4. It's a lot bigger undertaking, but I'd love to see it. I think those games deserve it. Let's put it at the end of the day. I think Gears is underappreciated and has become kind of one of the forgotten greats of the 360 generation, even though it's huge, right? Gears is still big for a lot of people. But again, I think it deserves the Halo treatment. So yeah, I'd love to see it work. I just don't know if they're going to put those types of resources, especially from the Coalition, into that, especially when they got 6 to make, and they've also got this other project that they're working on. So we'll see, but I'm all for it. So let's make it happen. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. So my connection's being a little wonky here, so I do apologize, but we're going to get to this next question. You guys just dropped them in. We got a few minutes left in the show, then we'll wrap things up, but what are we doing here? Okay, so what do you think a cloud-based game? What do you think a cloud-based game is? He said, I'm imagining State of Decay 2, but your world and camp keeps grinding while you're not playing. What do y'all think?
For a cloud-based game?
Well, cloud-based game. Look, cloud can be used in all sorts of manners, right? Cloud can be used for computations that need to be done. That's how Sea of Thieves has the incredible looking water, right? Cloud can be used for information transfer and storage. When you're talking about large amounts of information, that's how they make Flight Sim work, right? Is because we're talking about petabytes of data that would never be able to be put onto a disk or anything like that. So cloud can be used in all these different ways. Then you got somebody like Kojima, who imagines using cloud where you have an interconnected world amongst the game where everybody in the world can connect to that world at one time, right? Because the cloud can handle it. It doesn't have to be limited like an MMO to servers per se. It can have a much greater reach. And then on top of that, other instruments can be in play, other mechanics can be in play within the cloud world, so that you can see your game experience transfer over to the real world. So if somebody calls you, what Kojima, I've read a lot of Kojima's thoughts and interests, and again, you can go all the way back to his Nintendo days and see that he had crazy ideas for how to make games different. And I think that one of the ideas he has is to interconnect so that if, let's say, a call comes through in the game world, that call actually comes to your cell phone, right? Your cell phone actually rings and you're interacting with the game through real world stuff. Now, we've seen that to varying degrees with apps. I'm not talking about apps. I'm talking about just straight from the cloud, calls your cell phone, blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of imagination he has. So the cloud experience has all these different applications, but what you will see when people get a handle on the cloud, when Microsoft sees their vision fully realized, you will see all the developers from across the world be able to work on a game world, no matter where they are, all in real time. And that game world is going to be X times amount bigger than anything we've seen before in a game, because once they get the streaming down, the data streaming down, they can create a world that's never been seen before, much like Flight Sim uses all that petabyte of data. And that's how we get real world generation of real world streets and real world areas. You're going to be able to create a game as big as the world, or as big as your imagination can go, because it automatically knows what information it needs to transfer to the console for you to have an experience on your TV. That whole world doesn't have to be realized in one place like it does currently when you download a game or on a disc. It can exist in the cloud, and until you get to certain points within that world, it doesn't have to give you that data. That's the difference with cloud for me, that we're going to see much, much larger experiences than we've ever had possible before due to hardware restrictions, right? And that's gone, right? And that's the other thing. A game that plays on my Series X will easily play on my phone with the cloud with the same quality, because it understands how to make that work from the cloud. It doesn't require the hardware per se. So yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's great. Great point. Great point. So Mav, shout out to Mav, man. Always in here. FSP always in here thick. Appreciate the love, man. That's family right there. So shout out to Mav. He had a great question. Let me back up. Where was it at actually? Here it is. He said, will Forza, and this is actually for you, Fuzz. I kind of want to get your opinion. Will Forza Motorsport be the best graphics we have seen when revealed at Xbox Summer Showcase? That is a big we're supposed to see Starfield there. That's the same place. So that, and then, you know, like with all the other stuff we've been talking about, that is a high bar. That's a lot to say.
I will say, for car visuals, anything involving metallic surfaces, painted surfaces, things like that, yes. I don't know, as far as when it comes to things like character models, I think it may not be quite on the same level as like maybe a Starfield or something else that they'll have on display. But I think for anything, for anyone that's a car fan, I think this will be the go-to. Now, sure, people are going to say, oh, GT7, I can see the stitches on the steering wheel, or I can see the, you know, the perforations in the leather, and that's fine. But I think overall, not just the car, but the environments, the grass on the side, the rumble strips, the, you know, the people in the stands, all of that. I think Motorsport will be the pinnacle once again, as far as all that's concerned. Car model or you know, character models, I'm not as concerned. I just want to be able to make my own driver suit and helmet and stuff. But yeah, I think it may not be as visually stunning as what Horizon 5 was, in the sense like it looked like we were looking at real life with the leaves and stuff blowing in the wind and then the car flies by. I think it'll be pretty darn close though. I think just that it's narrowed down to track environment, so you won't see as many, you know, leafy trees and cactuses and stuff on the side of the track. You'll just see like the, you know, the billboards, the fans in the stands, and, you know, the pit crews and all the people that are around the track, the vendors, like the hot dog vendor or something like that type of deal. But visually, I think all of that will melt people's faces.
Yeah. It's going to shine. I absolutely, it has to be a showcase. I mean, it has to showcase that brand new engine running on these next gen only consoles. So I think it has to, and it always has been at just about every showcase. It always has been like a visual showcase, just because it's, you know, the tech is so good and they're so goddamn good at what they do. Yeah. And they always push it and maximize it to its best. So I fully, you know, think that trend is going to continue. So I think we'll take one more question and then we'll wrap things up here. Let's see. Did anybody else drop anything else in here? Did I miss anything? Let me go back a little bit. If you guys want to drop any other questions, go ahead and let us know. Let's see. I think I pretty much got everything. Did we get everything? We didn't get to everything we talked about. I know we got some stuff in the DMs. There's a bunch of stuff in there that I don't even think got to.
There's so much stuff if you really want to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, I mean,
we didn't touch on WB. We didn't touch on the Ubisoft
well,
stuff.
We could wrap it up with the
Speculation Town.
Yeah, we could wrap it up with the WB. So I'd love to get into that to kind of wrap the show up with. We're already there anyway. We might as well.
We're already there. Yeah, exactly. So I got the tweets right here. So if anybody doesn't know, Imran Khan, who has been around the industry for quite a long time, he's actually now the news editor at Fanbyte Media, former senior editor of Game Informer. Imran's been around. He's been a journalist for a long time in this industry. Well, he's not one that spreads rumors. He's not one that really talks about that stuff at all. So it was interesting that he put out this tweet. And said what he said, because again, putting out a tweet nowadays, and he knows this, even if you're not going to write the articles are going to be written about your tweets, right? So he put this out there into the wild, say couldn't get enough confirmation to actually write a post about it, but hearing a decent bit of chatter this week about WB Discovery shopping their game development studios around. Interested parties include EA, Take-Two, Microsoft, Sony, Tencent, NetEase, and PUBG Corp. Warner Brothers Discovery wants to sell studios and license IP, supposedly. So that fired up Speculation Town again to new heights, because acquisition season is back on the blocks, baby.
So this is very interesting. And once again, this is one of the ones we wanted. I think we all wanted to have. We talked about last year, I believe. We talked about this because it was actually more. It was a bigger deal then than it is now. Like, even though we're hearing that this is going on, we actually really thought it was going to happen back then. So it's interesting that it's coming back around, and these things tend to do that. But I'm all for this. Now, all of the people, the list of parties that are all interested, it gets very complicated for Xbox because of the Activision situation. Mm-hmm. They have to tread lightly, because that absolutely is the primary focus. That all their resources as far as Xbox, that has to happen. So, you know what I'm saying? So they'll tread lightly with any other type of acquisitions. Now, could there be intent to buy? Absolutely. I'm sure they'll put the feelers out there. This is what happens, and they have to be able to juggle things, right? And obviously it's been confirmed that Satya said, look, we're not done looking at acquisitions and growing and, having these studios and developers for Game Pass. So with all of that being said, absolutely. I do think that, this is a thing. Because we talked about this, right? Once that deal went through with Discovery, it didn't seem like they were very interested in the video game portion of this anyway.
Nope.
In any of the studios, that didn't seem like it was a focus. So this coming back around now makes sense. I don't know what they would have done with those studios. They don't have any experience running no damn video game studios.
No. So, they want to be like Disney with with Lucas and be able to license out this stuff. Exactly. Look, here's the deal. I'll give my spiel short, even though I've got a long one, and I went on a rant this morning out with Living Split Screen. Phil, if you're listening, whoever's listening out there in Xbox land, look, whatever you do, make this deal happen. Okay. I don't care if it puts Activision under bigger scrutiny. I don't care if you have to go to court and fight this all the way. This is another once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm talking about buying all of it. Every single piece of it. You go all in on the entertainment side of things. I've talked about this before. This is the future. The entertainment industry as a whole is consolidating. Netflix is getting into gaming. You want to control your own destiny when it comes to this 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Grabbing all the movie studios, grabbing a streaming service like HBO Plus, grabbing all of it, plus the DC IP, you control your destiny from here on out. You are completely 100% insulated from the rest of the world. The FTC would have no reason to stop this deal from going through after allowing Disney and Fox to combine, because the focus, the gaming portion of WB is so small compared to their movies and TVs, right? And the DC comics, all that stuff. That's all much bigger than the gaming side. So they would have no reason to stop you, because guess what? One of your main competitors, Sony, owns movie studios and TV deals. Disney, who license out their gaming stuff, owns some of the biggest and best movie studios, and you would not even be close to a monopoly, right? There is no reason under the law that you would ever have a problem acquiring these people. So this is another. If Activision Blizzard was a once in a lifetime deal, this is the second lifetime deal right here with Warner Brothers. You can't let Tencent have them, right? If Sony gets them, whatever, it is what it is. They get the studios, that's fine. They're not going to buy all of Warner Brothers Discovery. That's cool. Whatever. That's fine. But again, you are in the position right now to set course for that future where the entertainment industry is not just about owning one piece of content. It's about owning all of the content. It's about having those movies and TV studios being able to take your video game IP and turn them into blockbusters, right? That's what this is about. It's about having a comic side of things where you can take Halo and make the Halo comic, but at the end of the day, you take all the revenue 100% outside of what you're paying your employees at that point. You're taking all the revenue back in. You are 100% insulated. You want to go make a Gears movie or Gears TV show and nobody else is hype on it, you can still go do that because you have it all in-house. That's the future. So I want them to go do this, even if it means fighting in court over it. I don't care. You do it. You make this happen. Now, if that's not on the table, you guys have no interest in the entertainment realm, that's not what you're looking at, fine. They're going to piecemeal these studios off. Go get NetherRealm. Go get Rocksteady. Those are the two players that you have to have. Get NetherRealm with the MK license, the Mortal Kombat license. Get Rocksteady. Sign an exclusive. Right. Sign exclusivity licensing deal for DC game stuff for 15, 20 years. Sign a big licensing deal with them, but go get those two. Rocksteady, I think, is talented enough to work on something else outside of licensed IP. I think they could make a different type of game. And if you get Activision Blizzard, you got prototypes sitting there, which you could reinvent and turn into your own type of superhero game. Would it be as big as a Marvel game? No, it wouldn't be, but you could have Rocksteady do that. Those are the two most talented. I love Monolith with the Nemesis. I was
say with that Nemesis
patent.
That engine.
Yeah.
Man.
So
and they're doing Wonder Woman as well.
Yeah, they're doing Wonder Woman as well. So again, do what you got to do. But obviously, WB Discovery is going to be interested if they're not going to sell the whole kit and caboodle. If Microsoft doesn't walk in with the big giant, they're $44 billion market cap right now. So you would be looking at about $60 billion. So,
and let's not forget the Lego IPs, the Traveler's Tale stuff.
Correct, and that's the least of my concerns. But it would be big, right? It would be big. But I think you got to go grab at least a couple of the studios if they're going to piecemeal them. If you're not going to buy the whole thing, you got to get on the bidding. No matter what it costs you, just do it. Again, they got to look at those deals separately from the Activision Blizzard. You put all your chips in, let the cards fall where they may be. But this is the time you do this stuff. So I think they got to get in on this action and not let somebody like Tencent or an Amazon swoop in and try to gobble up the whole damn thing all at one time. That's what you fear. And I think Phil is well aware of that. So I think they're going to be in on this, even if we don't hear about it. So
that would be great. I mean, I do think, it's a competitive thing. And so we want to get to you, Fuzz. Fuzz, we'll wrap this thing up with you, Fuzz.
Well, I'm looking at it from kind of like, not really a different angle, but I know if I was Sony, I would go all in on NetherRealm. If I want to be the king of fighters as far as like having all of the fighting content outside of like a Smash Brothers, NetherRealm is a must buy. I don't care what it takes. Jim Ryan is probably already trying to get the checkbook out of the board's hands type of deal, but that's the one that Sony has to get.
Yeah, that's the crown jewel of the hall. They're the crown jewel. I think it goes without saying.
Yeah, because they already have kind of this lockdown on Street Fighter. They already have the whole esports thing as far as fighting tournaments and stuff like that. What better way to round it off than with Mortal Kombat? They got to do it. I mean, I would love for Xbox to have it and have that be the studio that makes Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat, or Killer Kombat, or Mortal Instinct, or whatever crossover.
Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct would be.
Yes, sir. But if I'm Sony, that's the one I have to have. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, even if you have to overpay, kind of like a Bungie deal, you get NetherRealm, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. As far as Xbox, with Rocksteady and Monolith and things like that, I agree with you guys. Those are also very well worth grabbing those up as well. The Nemesis engine, which they patented it, and there's been other places that have had something similar, but to have that patent and be able to put it to your use in all of your studios games if need be, or if they would like to, without having to worry about paying royalties and such, it's definitely worthwhile for them to grab that up. Plus, like Pong was saying, do one of those 10 or 20-year contracts where you have the first right of refusal. It doesn't necessarily require that you make a game, every so often, but at least if there's a DC property that you want to, make a game, or if they're pushing to have a game come out alongside a upcoming movie or series or something like that, at least you have the right to turn it down, or at least the first choice to turn it down or to go ahead with that property. But man, I kind of see Amazon being the ones that would you say before?
Don't even put that energy out
with
there.
The twirling mustache.
Don't even put that
type
energy
of
out
deal.
there.
Yeah, I totally see Amazon being the ones kind of on the sideline. They've been quiet. And they didn't
Brother, I heard this on Xbox Ultimate. So
yeah,
right, yeah. And he used the Dudley Do Right in that show as well. And I said there's only a couple of us who remember Dudley Do Right at this point.
No, but I think it's just one of those things where Amazon, since they didn't do like Google when Bethesda was purchased by Xbox and jump out like, oh, I'm out. I can't, spend that kind of money. Amazon's been kind of quiet, and they kind of watch, and they've, had their own studios release a couple of games, one to, decent acclaim and stuff like that. But I think this might be the time that Amazon shows its wallet and shows how serious they are about getting into gaming above and beyond just, having Twitch under their belts type of deal. So I think WB might actually be acquired by Amazon, lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah, Amazon would look to buy the whole thing too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because they could use all the studios. My God, they would be competing. I mean, they are competing right now, but it would be perfect for them in one fell swoop. So, yep.
Yeah, their Prime streaming service would benefit from it as well. So.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. No. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up on that one, man. That was a great question to wrap up, man. This is a great show. Lots of questions. You guys were super engaged today, man. We love it. There was a lot going on this week, but we're going to wrap things up now, man. So appreciate you guys on your way out. If you're new here, once again, hit the like button. All the support, you guys provide every single week is amazing. Thank you for coming out, hanging out with us. We will be having a guest next week. We might actually have two. If I got to go back and check, but we might have two, so we'll see. I'll let you guys know about that. Follow me on Twitter, all of that stuff. Well, let me go ahead and throw this over to my my compadres here. We'll start with you, Pong. Thank you again, as always, every week, man, bringing the energy. Chat, you guys, he'll let you know where you can find him.
Yeah, as always. Hey, first of all, PTK, what question did bestcams.fun have? What was going on?
You know what? I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Man, I think they had something good. It looks like they hit us up a few times. God,
yeah, nah, I don't know.
Why did you hide them? Probably was a great question. They probably wanted to talk about Starfield, and you hit them just because you didn't want to talk about Starfield.
That's absolutely
exactly
true.
what happened here. Anyways, no, great show. PTK, thanks for breaking through on this show and making it through on this show, I should say, with you feeling under the weather, man. Appreciate that. I know that's not always easy to do,
yeah, thank you, man.
But because it was awesome to have a show on Saturday night. You know how much I look forward to this, getting together with you. And you were feeling under the weather, man. You could have canceled. No, you powered through, brother. That shows something, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No, it was great to be here. Great show. Lots of good topics. Again, big news week. Expect this. This is going to be kind of the norm here as we go headed towards, June and the summertime here. We should start seeing this kind of news pick up. Chat, you guys were all amazing. Absolutely. And other than, again, I appreciate you for completing my Saturday night. I can go to bed satisfied this evening. Thank you so much for being here. All of you. We love you. Thank you. Awesome. Anyways, Pong Soul, Xbox, Twitter, all know the drill there. Tomorrow, tune in to Season Gaming for episode 200. Shout out to Ains, Porsche Power. What they do over there is absolutely amazing. High quality stuff. They are having episode 200.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah, he's going to have people swinging through anytime between 10 and noon. It's going to be kind of a revolving door, real quick appearances from people who've been on the show.
I wonder. I mean, I might have got a fishing line.
You might got a little fishing lines. I'm going to be showing up at some point too. But it's going to be a great show. Again, those guys over there now they've changed their format, which is really cool. They're doing big numbers over there. so that, with Dan, obviously Ains, Dan, and then of course I got Ty Guy Travis and Hogue Law now. So it's an amazing show over there. Go check them out tomorrow. Tuesday, Xbox Factor podcast. Not sure if I'm going to be there this week, but it's going to be a big show with all this news going on, all the speculation town. Go check out Boom, Double Barrel Gaming. Mav is there when he can be. Archimedes, VJ, and now N64 Josh. Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Thursdays, PM and the PM. Again, go check out this week's last episode with Rand and Steele. It was amazing 3 hours. Really a good time there. PM and the PM over on Fun Speculations channel, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. We'll be back. Who knows what's going to drop this week? And Mav and I are going to be covering it on Thursday nights. It's a great, great time. Fridays, back on Fun Speculation, Xbox Ultimate. Fuzzy's now basically a part of the family. Let's just admit it at this point. So we got the grade 8, the who knows what we're going to go with 9, but yeah, we have people coming in and coming out. It's an awesome time on Friday nights, 9 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate, be there, Fun Speculations channel. Saturdays, by now, living split screen, all one word. My brother from another, Steel, Rain, and I are getting you ready for your weekend. 4.5 hours today, and we didn't even get through all the topics. That's right, folks. That's what we do. We had some great conversation with the chat, like PTK does here at the end. It's kind of what we do throughout our entire show. If somebody puts something cool up in the chat that we want to talk about or interesting, we are going to just stop the show and talk about it. That's what we do there. It's a great time. Share it out. We're on mission 1K for this year. We're now at like 520 something at this point. Be there, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, every Saturday morning, 3 p.m. UK time. Otherwise, people, it is the golden age of gaming. It really is. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of nonsense out here in the world, not just in the gaming world. Protect your energy. And remember, this has been kind of my thing this week because I had a couple things bring it up, a couple just interactions on Twitter with people that were great. Remember that you always have the power to make somebody's day or to break somebody's day. We always forget that. But remember, behind these machines, there are human beings out there. Just keep that in the back of your head and decide how you are going to talk to somebody or what you're going to say to somebody, because you really could have an effect on them. And don't let anybody try to steal your energy. Block, mute, whatever you got to do, disengage. Right? But enjoy what's happening right now in this hobby. It's fantastic. Play what you love what you play. And I'm going to talk to y'all real soon.
Appreciate you, man. Every single week. Thank you, man. So once again, you're always bringing the energy. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you first before we wrap all of this up, man. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh, man. Awesome show today. I always love doing this with you guys. Love having the chat and here, interacting with us and everything. And, man, so much news coming between now and, this summertime of games. June is going to be a pretty lit month as far as all the stuff that's coming in the pipeline. But for those that want to hear my ramblings on racing games or other games in general, just follow me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere or catch my replay videos on YouTube at @fuzzy_Belvedere. Also find me on FSP Podcast, Fun Speculations Podcast on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time with Mav, 3-Bit, and Jasper. And then on Friday mornings, you can find me on Breakfast with Boom with Mr. Boomstick, with Web Dave, with Dreadpool, and now with John Wolf. And we always have, occasion we'll have either Mr. Badbit or Bit Cloud Gaming hop in as well, and Crispy Bomb sometimes when he's available. And then later on that night for Friday, find me on Xbox Ultimate with my brother Pong, with Mav, as well as 3-Bit and Jasper and Psychonauts and Caitlin, and it's like basically the whole family. Assassin Lupa. It's an awesome time, and I love being a part of it. I'm so glad they, welcome me into the family as well. And then, man, I always look forward to coming back here with you guys on the Shop Podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about the latest news. And man, I expect some more news this coming week. So let's buckle down.
Man, so once again, you guys hear that? Things are just heating up. This is we're just wrapping April up. This is all early, super early than we usually get it. So, man, so once again, host the most here, PTK Blam. Follow me at PTK Blam on Twitter, all of that good stuff. Appreciate you guys' support. Sorry about that. Had to sneeze real quick. Sorry about that.
You,
So yeah, you guys follow me on all my socials. Poll of the week every single Monday as well. But once again, we might have 2 guests next week. So I'll let you guys know. Once again, follow me on Twitter. So see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Peace out, everybody.
Later.